Hello everybody, it's Vinyl Rich here with the Gimme 10 Blues albums. This is in response to Halloween fan Mark. He wanted you to recommend 5 blues albums. I came up with 7. I couldn't whittle it down. Well, it was easier for me to expand it to 10 than whittle it down to 5. So I made this into a Gimme 10 video. I'm going to say something first before I show any of the records as far as the blues. And this might offend some blues fans. I don't think it'll offend Bobby Gass, but some of you other sensitive types, it might. In the 60s, there was like a blues rock, a blues explosion with in England and U.S. And especially, well, the Monterey Pop Festival. That was the first outdoor rock festival. I think it was the year prior to Woodstock. And it was a 3-day festival. The second day, I think you could have bought tickets for all 3 days or single days. If I would have bought tickets for the second day, I would have been pissed off. Paul Butterfield Blues Band was playing, Electric Flag, Al Cooper, and I'm not sure. There was like 5 bands. They all sounded the same. I mean, you couldn't distinguish one from the other, with the exception of Electric Flag because of Buddy Miles' vocals. I mean, there were other bands that played, but man, during the afternoon, it was like one band after another that sounded literally the same. And that's my gripe with blues. Now, it's kind of ironic coming from someone that likes punk, because you could say the same thing about punk. A lot of it sounds the same, and it can be hard to distinguish one band from another. But that said, I do love punk, and I do love some blues. Other blues, I don't know. It's good beer drinking music, because once you're a little drunk, it doesn't really matter, you know. But it seems to me that a lot of these bands in the 60s, and even nowadays, people resort to playing blues because they can't write songs. I mean, there's great musicianship in these blues bands, great guitars, but the songwriting's kind of lacking. I mean, it's just the same thing over and over. And that's my little comment. Now on to the records. 10 very good records, very distinct albums. First one I'm going to show is Arnold Burnside, Long Distance Call, Europe, 1982. This was recorded in Europe in 1982, while Arnold Burnside was on tour in Europe. It's just Arnold Burnside on vocals and guitar, and it's acoustic guitar. It's very Arnold Burnside. He's very repetitive. He's got a very distinct playing style, and really cool. This is a really good album. This is a Record Store Day album, but he does have another album called Early Recordings, and I think that's pretty similar. The next album I'm going to show is another R.L. Burnside, and this is Too Bad Jim. This has some of the same songs as that other album I just showed, but this is electric. This band is very distinct in that it has 3 generations of musicians in it. The drummer is Calvin Johnson, which is R.L. Burnside's nephew. The guitar player is Kevin Brown, and R.L. Burnside on guitars. Now, Calvin Johnson is a 20-year-old, Kevin Brown is a 40-year-old, and R.L. Burnside is 60-year-old when this was recorded. Very unique lineup. I Again, this is some of the songs are very repetitive, very raw. They say Arnold Burnside was influenced by the fife and drum bands from that area. Arnold Burnside is a Mississippi Hill country bluesman. And that's where Robert Johnson went to when he disappeared and he supposedly made a deal with the devil. He actually went up to the Mississippi Hill country and got influenced by their guitar stylings. But yeah, this is a really good album. Really raw. Shake 'Em On Down. That's on YouTube by R.L. Burnside. Check it out. This next one here, this album was recorded in 1994. If I know the days, I will mention it. This is Muddy Waters, After the Rain. This was recorded in 1969. Again, an electric album. It followed Electric Mud, an album that was criticized by jazz purists because it had psychedelic tinges to it, the guitar playing in that. This is the same band, same musicians, but it's not as doesn't have the psychedelic tinges that the other one has. Rollin' and Tumblin', that song is worth the price of admission alone. This is a great album by the great Muddy Waters. And I'm going to show one more by Muddy Waters. This came out in 1977. This is the first album that Johnny Winters produced and played with Muddy Waters. It kind of revived Muddy Waters' career. I do like the earlier 70s and late 60s Muddy Waters albums. But this one did kind of breathe some fresh air and some life into them. And it's a really great. And again, it's really raw. It's just a fantastic album. They made 3 albums together. And it seems like each one got progressively not as strong as the last. This one being the strongest. Hard Again by Muddy Waters. Now this next one is a little bit different. It's Canned Heat. And this is Livin' the Blues. On my video, my favorite 60s psych albums, I did use a section of this back cover for the thumbnail of that video. Just thought I'd add that. But side 1 of this is a traditional blues side. It's Pony Blues, My Mistake, Sandy's Blues, Going Up the Country, Walking by Myself, and Boogie Music. Now none of those songs, none of them sound alike. They're all distinctively very different types of songs. But I think it's one of the best blues sides ever. And this, along with Hallelujah, are I think the 2 best Canned Heat albums. Side 2 of this has One Kind Favor, which is another great blues song. And then the next song, it's a very long, extended, and it's kind of a psychedelic song. The second album of this it's a double album. It's like a long live, and it's a long jam called Refried Boogie. And I don't care for that side as much. And this is what the inside looks like. This does have some ring wear. This is my copy from when this album came out. This was the first Canned Heat album I ever got. And I would like to update it, but I upgrade it, but I do want to get an original. The next one is an album I picked up probably in 72 maybe. And I just bought it on a whim because of the cover and the instruments these guys were playing. It's Carl Martin, Johnny Young, John Lee Granderson, and John Rensher. And it's the Chicago String Band. It's on Testament Records. And this was recorded in 1966. And this is fantastic. Just all acoustic instruments. Just really great. Violin, mandolin, guitars. It's just a fantastic album. And if you can find this, I highly recommend it. The Chicago String Band. This next one is Mississippi Fred McDowell. I Do Not Play No Rock and Roll. This guy is also from the Mississippi Hill Country, and in the late 50s and early 60s, he did play with Arnold Burnside quite often. There was no recordings. They used to play bar joints, you know, back then. But this is a great album. It's the name of the album is I Do Not Play No Rock and Roll. It's what I dig about this album. It's just so casual, and like the first song is "Baby Please Don't Go." We all know that song, but he doesn't come out and sing the song. He just a baby please, a baby please, a baby please don't, a baby please don't go. I mean, he doesn't say the first sentence of the song till like after 4 tries, you know. And he does that over and over. Good Morning Little Schoolgirl. It's the same thing. But highly recommend this album. Mississippi Fred McDowell. I Don't Play No Rock and Roll. Great album. This one's a little bit earlier stuff. Blind Willie McTell, 1949, Trying to Get Home. Now this guy, he had some very early recordings. I kind of shy away from the real early recordings because of the sound quality. But these songs here, recorded in 1949, very good sound quality. This is on the Biograph Records. This guy has it's not a real gruffly voice. He kind of sounds like Jack White from the White Stripes. But yeah, great. Willie McTell, Blind Willie McTell. Everything I've heard by him, I really like. He has some stuff that was recorded after this that I don't have. And he has some stuff that was recorded before this that I don't have. This is the only album I do have, but excellent stuff. Can't recommend it enough. One of my favorites is Howlin Wolf. This is I guess it's a self-titled album. This album, then there's the other album where there's a wolf. Those are the 2 Howlin Wolf albums that I think are just fantastic. But yeah, this guy, he's got that great voice. Really big man, apparently. And I think Howlin Wolf is a good starting point for anybody. Those first 2 albums of his. This is a 70s reissue. Originals can get quite expensive, and in fact, even these reissues are not cheap. And then, last but not least, maybe my favorite, well, it's my prized possession of all my blues albums. It's the legendary Son House, father of the folk blues. And this guy, he played years back. And he kind of retired. He moved to New York City. And I don't know if he was a cab driver or what. But the one that discovered him or convinced him to come back into the studio and start recording again was Blind Al Wilson, the guy from the Canned Heat, the harmonica player. And he actually plays on Empire State Express, the last song on side 1, and Leave on Camp Moan, the last song on side 2. But this is a fantastic album. Father of the folk blues. This is the guy that taught Robert Johnson how to play guitar. He didn't make a deal with the devil. He took some lessons from Son House. And fantastic. Highly recommend this. I think it's been reissued. But yeah, this is a demonstration, not for sale. At least it's stamped on here. The actual labels are just regular 2Is, Columbia 2Is, but great album. That's it. Give me 10. My next video is going to be my 1,000 subs contest. I'm a pepper, you're a pepper. Yeah, whatever. Take care, guys and gals.
what's all that racket over there?